With the arrival of 0.023, hunting in vain has changed significantly. No longer do you search corpses and rely on the looting gods to determine the success of your hunting expeditions, but there's now butchery, bloodletting and skinning in the game. In this video, I go through the top tips for hunting, from locations for guns and bows, to how to skin, dry leather, and how to make blood meal and bone meal ready for your farms. Let's get into it. First things first, to hunt effectively, you're going to need a few things. Ideally, the safest way of hunting is to be as silent as possible. You can hunt with an unsuppressed gun, but it's innately riskier, even on lower zombie population settings, as any zombies in the area will come to your location. Additionally, in vain, animals seem to like the sound of gunfire, so if you fire off a round or two, you can expect any nearby boars or wolves to come along and try and give you a nibble. I have got a solution to this later on in the video if you're struggling to find a suppressor or bow, or just want a little more protection when hunting. I'd recommend using a bow and arrow if possible. It does take a bit of practice to nail down the aiming, considering distance, but this way you can pick up your arrows and make next to no noise. Alternatively, of course, you can use a gun, but I'd recommend finding a suppressor first to minimise the noise, and a scope will be handy. The best gun for hunting, in my opinion, is the N1903 due to its scope. Coupled with a suppressor, it's my favourite hunting weapon, but any gun will do. You will also need to be on the lookout for a knife. Sharpness doesn't seem to have any impact at the time of recording, so something like a butter knife will do, and also it'll be worth keeping your eye out for a peristaltic pump too. This is for extracting blood from your prey. You may be wondering where you can find these things, so here are a few key looting locations for bows, arrows and or guns. Spoiler alert, if you don't want to find out about locations via a video and want to explore yourself, skip past this segment. There's 4 locations I'll chat through and another few honourable mentions, but the ones I've highlighted here are for their location, as they're relatively easy to access in most cases. For bows and arrows, check out Klein's Archery and Bait, located in Saranac. This has a solid chance of providing you with bows and arrows outside of locked containers, as arrows spawn on the shelves and bows on the walls. There's also some locked archery containers too, if you've got lockpicks, and its location is here on the map. Next up, whilst talking about bows, is Big Ned's Fish Shack. I've just had a realisation that this does sound like I'm doing some sort of infomercial or commercial for these companies. But hey-ho. Whilst bows and arrows aren't Ned's core offering, he has archery boxes under the tables in his shop. Again, lockpicks will be needed here, but this location is another solid place to check out. Then, and not too far away from Ned's, is of course the Lakeside Gun Shop and Range. This will most likely require lockpicks too, as the front door is often locked, but here you can find bows, arrows and obviously guns, with the possibility to find sights, scopes and suppressors as well, especially if you're on kinda loot settings. This is located here on the map, and once you get through the front door, you may be fortunate enough to find something spawn on the shelves in the shop itself, which don't require lockpicks to get into. And the final location I'll highlight is Outpost Alpha. This is a solid place to check out for guns and ammo. It's also out in the sticks, so whilst you'll find some Zeds here, there's not going to be as many as heavy populated areas like other central locations. You will need lockpicks again here for some containers, and there's an honourable call out for some other locations like Clinton Correctional Facility, but given how busy it can get dependent on population settings and how much effort it actually takes to get into and to get to the armories, it doesn't make the main list. It's also worth looking at the train and jet crash sites, the dump sites which are across the map, and also the self-storage place if you're struggling to find guns, bows or arrows still. Now that you're suitably equipped, let's get to the actual hunting. To hunt animals, you'll want to find somewhere that's not very built up with buildings. Wooded areas are good, but will restrict your view quite a bit, so I typically plumb for a clearing in woodlands to set up. This enables me to have a good view around me, and a better chance of spotting my furry targets. I said earlier that there's a way of reducing the risk of animals coming at you, especially if you've not got a suppressor or bow, and are going to be using loud gunfire. Or if you want some extra protection from zombies, and that is to build a small, low-cost hunting stand such as this. It's really simple, just a utility cabinet, 3 fence panels, 1 fence panel with a door/gate, and a couple of fence ledges. It stops you being attacked by animals or zombies whilst you're hunting, and then you can just lie in wait for an unsuspecting animal to get into range and then fire with your gun or bow and arrow. From my testing, it does seem to take a couple of shots to take most animals down. And if you don't use a hunting stall like this, you can of course do more stalking of your prey. Sneaking in the woods works well, but as I say, you'll have less visibility of prey and other animals and zombies around you, so it's a touch riskier. Quick nod here to meat bait. At the time of recording, there doesn't seem to be any effect from utilising it, but once its effectiveness has been added into the game, this will make the hunting stall even more effective, as I'd expect you'll be able to place bait nearby and then shoot your targets. You've successfully killed your prey, and now you want to get as much as you can from it to make your hunting adventures worthwhile. Don't worry, I've got you covered. This is where your knife will come in. It seems from all the testing I've done that any knife can be used at the time of recording, so too can axes, even if they don't highlight as a possibility in the tool selection menu. My working theory here is that anything that's bladed will work. If you're wanting to extract blood from the carcass, which you'll need for bloodworm and blood soup, you'll also need a peristaltic pump. To find these, areas with medical loot seem to be the best in my experience, so ambulances, the medical depot, quarantine centre and the vet centre are good places to look. Your survivalism skill will determine the chance you have of being successful when bloodletting, skinning, gutting and dismembering. This is shown at the top left of the screen when you go to process your carcass, so let's go ahead and process the carcass. First, you'll want to open up the process context menu when looking at the animal's carcass. Then, to talk you through this screen a little, you'll see your survivalism skill at the top left, along with your chance of success. The higher your survivalism skill, the higher the success rate, and the more pelts, leather, organs, meat and limbs you'll get. For ease, I've included a table which you can see here. This shows what the maximum yield is from each animal and what type of pelt or leather each animal will provide. Feel free to take a screenshot if this is useful, and a quick note that if there's any changes to these values, this table will be available on my website, DeadZedje.com, and will remain updated there. Back to our butchering. First things first, you'll see a skin with box. Click this and select your knife or blade. They will typically be highlighted, but at present you can click on any bladed item that's in your inventory, and it should work. It will then change the text in the bottom from skin with to skin with, and will say the name of the tool you've selected. Then simply click on attempt. You've got 6 attempts here, highlighted by the 6/6 just beneath the skinning header. You'll get a message to say what you've harvested if it's been successful, or a notification telling you that you failed to harvest anything for that attempt. This same logic and process applies to gutting, butchering and dismembering, so follow the same flow. However, for bloodletting, there's a slight difference. You'll click Let Blood With, but this time you'll need to click on both the peristaltic pump and the container you want to pump the blood into. Make sure you select a container that's either empty or only contains blood, and that can take the amount of blood required. Then just click Attempt, and you'll drain the carcass of its blood. Once you've done all this, you'll have some fur pelts or leather, a container full of blood, some organs, some meat, and some limbs, if you're so inclined. Just before I jump into processing, it would mean the world to me if you could please like the video and subscribe to the channel. I release new Vein Let's Plays every Monday and a new Vein video each and every Wednesday. This is the place to be for Vein content. Thank you. Now you've got this offal, what do you do with it? Well, this is where processing comes into place. Kicking off with cooking. Organs and meat can both be eaten. I wouldn't advise you to do so raw, but with the meat you collect you can create seared or fried meat at any stove or fireplace. If you have other ingredients, you can make things such as fajitas too, if you've got some beef from killing a cow. You can also make broth using water and meat. A new recipe that's been added is blood meal. This can be used as a growth supplement for your farms and is made using blood and an oven dish. It does require survivalism level 35, so bear that in mind. Another new recipe that's been added as part of 0.023 is blood soup. To make this, you need, yes, you guessed it, your blood from earlier. Additionally, you'll need chicken noodles to accompany the animal blood. Next up is bones, and you'll get bones from destroying corpses, not butchering them. But these can be turned into bone meal at the crafting table. You'll need a heavy hammer, and to put the bones with the hammer into the crafting bench to make the bone meal. Fortunately, some carcasses or corpses, once destroyed, give you hefty bones, which can be used as hammers. So if you don't have one, you can just use that. Moving on from bones, let's look at leather and fur. To cure your leather strips and your fur pelts, you will need a drying rack. The drying rack will take anything from raw to ready to use and will change raw leather into leather strips. All you have to do is put the raw fur and leather into the drying rack's inventory and then wait. After about an hour in real life of playtime, you'll have leather strips and fur pelts ready to use. And that really is that in terms of hunting and processing what you've harvested from Carcasses in Vain. I hope this video has been helpful. Equally, I'm sure the comments will be incredibly helpful too. So please pop your comments down below with any tips you have for hunting and butchering. Please do like and subscribe, it really helps me out massively. And I'll catch you on Monday for my Let's Play and on Wednesday for another Vain video.